I am Chris from Riverhorse, and we're doing another one of our artist interviews. I was collecting books earlier from the other side of the room where we have a shelf with all our books, and you are by far the most prolific artist in our franchise.
All right.
Do you play any tabletop role-playing games?
I play a lot 5th edition D&D. A lot. My perfect amount of D&D is 6 campaigns at the same time. It's sadly...
One for every day of the week and one day off.
No, we do some monthly, some fortnightly. Right now we have a summer hiatus, which is driving me up the wall, actually.
So, when did you start playing role-playing games?
It's a weirdly difficult question. It's probably when I was about 14, 15.
Okay.
And it started with computer games more than like tabletop.
Okay.
As soon as my younger brother was old enough to play tabletop games with, and I grabbed a bunch of his friends and tried to run a campaign for them. Surprisingly, or maybe unsurprisingly, a group of 13-year-old boys run by 17-year-old girl is not necessarily the most well-planned thing.
Yeah.
But since then, it was on and off. Like, in each dormitory I moved to, we tried to start a game. They tended to dissolve quite quickly. But now, apparently one good thing of adulthood is that you can actually organize things despite having less time. Your friends are more organized and sane. So, yeah, for the last 3 years, I play very regularly.
Cool. So my next question is, have you played Tales of Equestria?
Just a little bit, because my role-playing group is mostly into a bit dark areas. But there are some things I really enjoy about My Little Pony adventures, which I think a lot of other role-playing systems could learn from. And that is the way that each problem has multiple solutions, and only one of them is violent. And usually the violent is the least optimal one. So It's actually better to think about it and try to find another way, because it's already written into the adventure. I find it quite frustrating that when I try to find pre-written adventures for my other games, they tend to just assume that your players will try to murder everything, which sometimes happens, but it's not the most fun thing to play.
Yeah.
At the past certain point. It's like there's only so much combat you want in your role-playing game. You want to have opportunities to explore different directions in different ways, and sometimes it feels like you have to homebrew everything that is non-violent.
How long have you been a My Little Pony fan?
It's again another tricky question. I watched old My Little Pony show when I was a kid. So as a 6-year-old, I would go to the neighborhood shop that had one shelf of weekly changing VHS tapes that I would rent for one weekend. And yes, this week we have My Little Pony, or this week we have Transformers. But so yeah, definitely My Little Pony, the old show, was big part of my childhood, and the arguments over who is going to play with the single pony toy we had with rainbow mane were a thing to behold. They were wars. There was a break in there quite long, and then a few years ago, I think something like 4 years ago, I had a job I was not enjoying, and I really needed something that would make my evenings brighter. So I was like, oh, what the hell, there is a new show, My Little Pony. It's hopefully some nostalgia will work there, and actually it was so much better.
When did you start on the path to being an illustrator? Was it like, I've watched My Little Pony, gotta go and draw draw cartoons now?
So I'm actually like a classically trained artist. So I did something like 9 years of art education on various levels. So drawing things is kind of reflex.
But when you kind of have to start tackling the problem, kind of how do you get into the creative place?
I just search for references and start sketching. So usually I'm comfortable with the fact that first two sketches are going to be a bit rubbish. And then like through drawing, and like I enjoy drawing in traditional media, so like pencils or colored pencils. It's how I work things out. There is a lot of erasing. There is a lot of like, oh, that part is nice, but let's go over it again to fix the another part. And only once I'm happy with a sketch, I take it to digital uh, workbench and start like creating like full color illustration with everything.
Do you have a favorite monster or pony? I guess. Like, what's your and which book is it in, so I can look it up and show it under the camera?
All right. I think the Bookwyrm is my favorite. It was really fun, bit of a struggle because there isn't any like reliable reference. There isn't paper dragons out there, not that many anyway. So like first draft was basically very much looking like a normal dragon, just with the little suggestions that the scales are made of paper, and then there was a bit of back and forth, and it's like, no.
Yeah.
Going back to the drawing board, starting from scratch, and like and yeah, I think the effect is pretty.
I like that you kind of get the feel just by looking at it that like the innate magical properties of these spells in a library or something have kind of mingled and become something like a bit more sentient than just magic in paper.
In my general role playing, magic users and magic is my favorite thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, My Little Pony, only unicorns for me. In D&D, arcane spellcasters, and so on and so forth. So having an excuse to like play around with something like really essentially magical is it's really fun.
Do you have any tips on creating your own characters or creatures? Sort of if somebody was at home wanting to make their own My Little Pony monster illustrations, how would you? What piece of advice would you give them?
Oh, well, yeah, I think the main thing is start with something that you find exciting, because if you're drawing something that you are going to find boring, it's not going to work out. And secondly, the first draft is really the best thing you can do. So just keep at it. Which I believe is generally the same advice that writers give to a lot of people too.
Yeah.
The first draft, it's there to be there, and that's the point where you can actually start working at details and figure out what you really want.
Yeah, and I think the writing comparison is interesting because you hear people say, 90% of writing is rewriting, but nobody ever says that 90% of drawing is redrawing.
Well, it kind of is though, especially when you're trying to design something new that does not exist in reality. It's when you're drawing something from real life. If you just have enough training and just draftsmanship,
Yeah.
You can go straight away and get it right the first time around. But if you're designing a completely new creature or something that have never existed, just working out how everything should connect to each other and what is necessary and what is superficial and can be removed usually takes a couple of drafts. Especially if you're after something that you'll be really happy with. I think it's easier if you want to go to create your own pony, because there is already a fantastic selection of existing ponies that you can use as a base of your own pony. So you find the one that is of similar temperament, or very strong if you want a very strong pony, so you already know how their body shape will look.
Yeah.
And you just go and apply the personality and the details. But yeah,
Cool.
I think that's all I have.
So my last question I'm asking everyone basically, because I'm looking for free ideas. What kinds of things would you personally like to see in the Tales of Equestria range in the future? Like, is there a player character sort of type that you'd like to see, or a monster, or even a place in Equestria that you'd like to explore?
I know that's not exactly a main plot kind of element, but Doctor Who's.
Yeah.
Doctor Who's more of him, definitely.
Well,
Also, anything at all that happened in 100th episode, if that gets into the role-playing game,
I will
that's
I'll have to probably edit this out if I'm not allowed to say this, but I think we have an upcoming Doctor Who's based adventure on the table. So yeah, fingers crossed. Cool. Well, thank you very much for spending some time with us and sharing. I'm sure I'll edit in some pictures and stuff that will flash up while we talk. We may even have dropped some questions, because I'm going to try and get it down to 15 minutes. Also, this explanation of how editing works will probably be cut as well. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. It's been really cool, and yeah, we look forward to seeing what you do for us in the future. Basically, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Cool. I don't really have a sign off for this, so I think they just end. They always peter out.
Thanks for watching our video. If you'd like to learn more, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. You can also like and subscribe to be told when we've released new videos.